I wanted to get on here and be like, you know what? Like, why did I start a podcast? Number one, right? Why did I start a podcast? I like to talk a lot. Like, I literally just talk too much. That's pretty much my gift and curse, right? So I was like, you know what? I want to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do one. I wanted to do a podcast. Like, I want to do a soccer podcast. Then it's like really into cooking, which I love doing. I want to do a cooking podcast, and different things. I mean, I like talking sports. I like talking everything. But then I was like, you know what? Let me just do something that I'm kind of like living every single day, which is teaching. And I'm in the classroom and I teach and I see the education and how it's working. And I've been involved in education my whole life. My parents are teachers. And so I've just seen it the entire time, right? So I was like, you know, why not do something that I actually know kind of a lot about, right? And actually been living it and actually live it, right? Like, I would do a soccer podcast if I was, you know, let's say a soccer journalist or working for some kind of soccer team, whatever it may be. And then I have some more insights, you know, and I could do some cool things and interview some big people. But I just felt like it was going to be too much work and a lot of like chipping away at it to get into the soccer world, where I was like, you know what, let me just maybe do something I actually live in. So that would be tip number one, is when you start a podcast, to choose something that you actually do, right? Like, they kind of say, like, try to be the expert at something that you actually do. And, you know, let's say you worked in construction. Well, you could do a construction podcast, right? Let's say you own a donut shop. You can literally do a podcast on donut shops, right? Like, what you do every day, you know, a new idea coming up, or different donuts, whatever. You could taste donuts. I mean, honestly, people want to hear your story. So I would say, if you're going to start a podcast, like I said, tip number one is to do something that you actually live every single day. Okay. Tip number two, I would definitely be involved in every single aspect of the podcast, right? As far as design, recording, editing, doing everything, right? Because I record myself, I do the audio myself, I figured it out myself, and, you know, I'm over here like trying to figure out how to do Canva, right? I'm over here trying to figure out how to do Adobe, all kinds of different things. And so I use a little bit of my expertise as far as in design, and I don't know, I kind of roll with it. You know, YouTube's there for you. YouTube is free. And then you got to reach out to your friends, right? So I think that's tip number three, is reaching out to your family and friends that also are down with you, you know, down to help you, right? Like, big shout out to my family who's been here the whole time, you know, entire time. My son who waits for me to finish recording. My wife who waits for me to finish recording, let me do my thing. Big shout out to my family members who actually listen to this, my friends, my cousins that are all for this. And then the biggest thing is like reaching out to people that know a little bit about things that, you know, maybe you don't know. Like, for instance, you know, I reach out to right away to my friend Mane, you know, big shout out to you. And he gave me some beats, right? He gave me some music. He made me my intro. So now I got him involved. He's doing this. He helped me out with audio. He hooked me up with a microphone, right? And I obviously was able to get some more help from my listeners, my good friends that gave me and hooked me up with the Amazon wish list, right? Items. They bought me a microphone, which I'm using right now, right? They hooked me up with the light, right? They hooked me up with a stream deck so I could do some sound effects, do it live. I got an audio mixer from one of my former players. So you know what? Like, you start realizing, like, people are down with you and people want to support your projects. People want to see you do good. You know, that's why a big shout out to Armani Easley, who was on this podcast earlier, episode 11. Check him out, right? He got some good words from his friend that told him, your goals are connected to other people's goals, right? And like, you know, and I could like really believe that now, because what I'm trying to do is maybe something my parents worked for. You know what I mean? And I'm working for other people to do great as well. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to help out my local musicians, my fellow friends that are involved in different projects, and showcase them here on the podcast, you know? So that's what I would do, man. Those are my 3 tips. Check out more content on YouTube. And of course on Instagram, we're on here every single day. Check it out.